The speech of
Shehu,
the,
there is a description.
oh,
It's an introduction.
WIDA, that's the project. Oh, okay, okay. Just the project title is WIDA. Is that the right thing I'm saying, or what's the
Yes,
word? Okay,
yes.
so the project title for the speech today is WID. Over to you, Naga.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, I will be talking to you about something called WIDA, WIDA. And you're probably wondering, what is WIDA? What does it stand for? I'll tell you about what it actually means, and then I'll tell you about what it came to mean to me. Last week, we started the WIDA. The WIDA is a standardized assessment. And from previous speeches, you all know that standardized assessment in my world is a pariah. Don't really like them. My staff don't really like them, but we have to do them. The reason for them, standardized assessments, is because states and federal governments use that information, that data, to provide money, funding for schools. That's how they rank schools. That's how they use that information. Does it help us as schools? Yes, of course, it does too. It provides us with information on how the students are doing so the teachers can support as necessary. Now, let me tell you how we got started with WIDA. First of all, WIDA is an assessment that's given in a lot of different states, not just in the state of Michigan. And it's for students who speak a language other than English, whose native tongue is different than English. And that tells us, if they take the assessment, that tells us how proficient they are in the English language and then whether they need additional support or not. We do it every single year. Now, usually the test happens in this school and we spend about 3 to 5 weeks testing on this. And this is kindergarten through 12th grade, not just certain grade levels. Everybody tests. And you can imagine if it's only English learners, what are the other students doing? So it takes a lot of planning on our part. We have to prepare the students and the schedules and the teachers and you name it. That's regular school time. Now, when we're closed and we're not face-to-face and we have to plan for students to come into the building groups at a time, it takes double the amount of attention and preparation. Wasn't last week, I think one of the weeks I was not able to make it to the meeting. And that's because we were preparing to receive our students in the building. We went from making sure that we have the toolkit, the assessment kit, the booklets. That's the easy part. Having the booklets, matching the names, making sure the names match the website, blah, blah, blah. That was easy, super easy. What was hard about it is making sure we have shields for every single child that walked into the building. We had masks for every student. We had thermometers stationed in every door. We knew which doors our students came in, through which door, and which administrator was supposed to be there to take their temperature and check in. We had cones stacked at each door so that we have spaces in between. Not only that, we needed to take a tape and tape down X's on the floor and measure, of course, 6 feet difference, so that our students, when they're in the building, they know where to stand and they're not near each other. We had to figure out times. We had to measure 4 hours in between each time we test so that the room can be sanitized. We even lay down the tables where the teachers are going to have lunch and put X's on where the teachers are going to sit during lunchtime because, you have to protect those people. You have to protect your students and your staff members that are in the building. And it took a lot of work. It took weekends and nights of making sure everything's done. Come last Monday, that's their first day when we expected all of our students to come. I couldn't sleep at night. I was anxious, honestly, and most of it is, what if something goes wrong? The next morning when students were there, it was honestly the happiest day of my life. Seeing those students come back to the building was just amazing. I felt life back into the building, come back in. They walked in, everything was perfect. They followed direction. They went into the classrooms and something did go wrong. They had their Chromebooks with them that we handed to them at the beginning of the school year. They had Wi-Fi, it worked, but the test application didn't work. It just, no matter what we try. We got a tech person, I called IT, nothing was working. And I had to give an ultimatum. 9:30, by 9:30, nothing works. I'm gonna have to send all these kids home. We had an entire first grade in our building. And come 9:30, nothing worked. I spent a lot of time to make sure that I walked to every classroom back and forth and give them updates every time something happened. I talked to IT and this is what IT said. This is what we're trying. This is not working. Message your parents. And I wanted to make sure the teachers knew what they were doing and they have every information possible. And those teachers did amazing. They were occupying all these students. They were getting to know them. They were playing games with them because imagine, since the beginning of the year until now, they haven't really seen them face to face. And now they do, and they're their, they are their kids. So it was a great time, but it took a lot of planning from the teachers to make sure those hours went by. We finally ended up sending the students home and rescheduling them to today, which everything went fine, just so you know. But the message I learned from that day last week is that while WIDA was annoying and it stood for the standardized assessment that nobody liked, that day it came with a different meaning. It was WIDA people. It was a team. It was a lot of us getting together and making it happen, and without a hitch. And I am so proud of this team. And maybe WIDA is not totally going to change its meaning for me, but that day did. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you for that, sharing that, Nagham. So, timer, please give us 1 minute. Just 1 minute to give feedback to Nagham. You can add a messenger privately or whatever work for you. 1 minute, please. So I was looking at this. It has been around for a while though, since 2002. WIDA.
That's a minute.
Thank you.
Are you talking about WIDA, Shehu?
Yeah, this